We talked about an idea, what to do with an idea, the writing part of the idea, and let's say we have a script now. And we've spent a lot of time and a lot of effort. You've showed it to people, you've been friends, whoever, you've been getting good reads, and you want to know what's next. And so we're going to talk a little bit about kind of the marketing of that script. And like I said, this is something that a lot of writers don't like to talk about, because it's kind of this idea of like, if I just write a great script, it's going to go to the right people. And that is the case for some people. You know, there's times when people can write this unbelievably phenomenal, unique piece of thing, and it finds its way. But there's other ways that you have to push it a little bit. And you have to network, you have to market it, and you have to get it out there. And there's some tools. It's different for everybody. I think it depends on where you live, what you do, what kind of stuff you're writing. But if you look at some of these people that have broken into the industry and what kind of scripts they're writing and the path that they did that, you see patterns. There's ways that that worked for some and didn't for others, and you start to see what that looks like. I can tell you my personal story and kind of journey into that. Again, it might not work for everybody, and it's not kind of this, you know, done deal way of doing it, but it was my experience with the industry. But I was from upstate New York and didn't have any industry contacts, but I had written this script, and it was at the New York Film Academy. It was like a summer program. I would have taken Save the Cat if it was around at that time. But I didn't know anybody, I didn't have contacts, I didn't have an agent, I didn't have a manager, I didn't have any of these people. But the teacher said, see if you can get people to read it in LA. See if you can get producers to read it. See if you can get managers to read it. Whoever. What do you have to lose? And I really didn't have anything to lose. And so I started doing that. I was a junior in college. I was a senior. I was finishing up senior year in college. And I had this script that was not horribly good, but it was trying to be good. It was going to get there. But I bought the Hollywood Creative Directory, which I think is online. I don't know if it's even around anymore.
I think it's online now.
It's online. I think it's online. IMDb is just as good. IMDb Pro has a lot of this information. And I would send queries pitching the story that I had written to whoever the heck I could find their email. And I look back, it kind of puts you in a vulnerable situation, but not to worry, whatever. You register the idea, there's a paper trail to that person you're sending emails to, but I wanted to get read to anybody I could put out there. And I would write, it would be query, and then the title of your pitch letter, the log line that we talked about, and a little bit about yourself. And if it got any awards or got any good reads or anything like that. But I would send out hundreds of these, just trying to get read, trying to get contacts. Because at the end of the day, I was like, I had nothing to lose and it didn't matter, whatever. And slow but sure, I would send emails from me to me and blind carbon copy 500 people. And out of those 500, 15 would get back. Out of those 15, 7 would agree to read it. Out of those 7, 2 people would actually read it and follow up. So it took time, but it was a process of just constantly doing this. But it was an idea that pitched well, that had a clear log line, that people seemed to respond to the idea of it. And I basically kept doing this until I had a manager who brought me out here and said, I'll work with you if you come out here. But still it took, I think it was like a year and a half later of taking notes from that manager and also meeting new people and new people that could help with the project. Until finally it was one of my first real meetings out here, and it was with a producer who didn't want to work with a young writer, but wanted to option the idea for virtually nothing. But I had a contract, I had something kind of concrete about it. And with that, I reapproached some of these other producers and managers who had passed over the project to begin with. And when they saw that somebody else wanted that project, they instantly became interested in that project. But the end to that was, again, sending a lot of queries and focusing on managers who are also producers, who know how to develop a product. At that point, I had a good, fun idea, but kind of a script that wasn't totally there. And in meeting some of these managers and producers, they were able to see that I was willing to do the work to get the script in a place where it was ready to go out. And that probably took another year. And I don't know, like 45 drafts or something like that. It takes time. But the point is that this is over email. Because you're pitching people over email. And there would be other times where I'd, send like 100 query letters to CAA or something, and someone would write back and be like, I'm not an agent, but I'm a custodial artsman at CAA, or, but I like your idea, what's it about, So there's some people that won't read your script, and they can't because of the position they're in. But there's other people, particularly managers and younger and smaller producers, that are willing to do that, okay? There's other people that have completely different routes to finding representation and doing that. There's contests and awards. The Nickel Contest and Fellowship is one of them, where if your script places in one of the top 5 or wins the Nickel, you instantly get phone calls from people.
Even as a quarterfinalist.
Which you were, right?
Yeah, it happened to me a few years back, even as a quarterfinalist.
And you can be living in Alaska.
One day I woke up and my email box was just full of emails. I said, oh, I got spam. No, then they had the title of my script was there, and I knew right then. These people were like, "Hey, we heard you made it to quarterfinalist. We'd love to read your script." So that opened doors as well, and it says as a quarterfinalist. But you have to be careful, with contests. Not all of them are. There are a lot of those little ones that kind of questionable.
Yeah. Well, following up to that, I mean, besides the Nickel, what 4 or 5 contests would you recommend as bid-off race?
There's some of the TV ones are at the studios. Like there's a Warner Brothers workshop. I think there's a Fox workshop. Like again, those people will read your pilot. They'll read your sample, and they're looking to take on new voices and new people. And they don't know how old you are. I don't think they know where you live. There's a funny story. The guy, what's their name? The guys that wrote all the Pirates of the Caribbean guys. Who are those guys? Yeah, Rossio and Elliot, right?
Yeah. Yes.
That they were speaking to a college or something like that, and they're like, I would love to read your stuff, but make sure it's great. Before you send it to me, make sure it's great. And they put their emails on the board. No one emailed them. That they were kind of afraid of doing that. Good scripts will find their way to the top. It might take time. King's Speech took 15 years to make, whatever it is. But the point is that any of those contacts or a good material, good samples will find its way. Other people do industry jobs. Because these put you in the same office as the gatekeepers. If you're working at Jerry Bruckheimer Productions or whatever it is, you're going to once in a while run into the guy or the people that work for that guy or the people that read scripts for that guy.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
Did I see him?
Yeah.
In the Earthshacker company. Met my agent just as buddies, hung out, didn't push my script, got to know him, got to know the culture. When the time was right, I go, hey, you know what, I wrote a script, let me take a look at it.
Sure.
And that's what led to my first sale. It was just a guy I knew at the office, who I was just friends with. I mean, if you can have the time to get an industry job and get in there somewhere, I find that'll give you the best shot, I think, to get your stuff read and seen. If you can't do that, then you just email away and blog and do whatever you can to create a brand for yourself. But you can get in there, get in there.
Sure.
If you do have contacts in the industry, do you recommend writing a draft before you pitch? Or would you just get your idea together and pitch it?
I think you have to have something to show them. I mean, there's produced writers right now that can't sell a pitch or can't get somebody excited about a pitch.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, all right, you gotta go write it. You know, so I think that you own something after that. There's something on paper that you own. That's a product. Yeah.
So you just mentioned that there are produced writers that are having problems. Is it pretty lean out there at the moment? I mean,
I think, like we talked about, the business changes a little bit and it's kind of cyclical. Like when Blake was in his prime and that kind of, you could supposedly sell a really cool concept on a napkin having drinks with somebody. And they'd be like, yeah, that's awesome. And there was a huge trend towards original material. But we're in a trend now of pre-sold merchandise.
Right? There's a guy, Fred Wolf, used to be the head writer of Saturday Night Live. You know, he wrote Black Sheep, and what was the other one with those two guys? The good one, not Black Sheep, but Tommy Boy, right? And he had a string of hits, and he was a known writer in town. And when he was on the floor of Saturday Night Live, the day before they were supposed to shoot their show, he just pitched over the phone to the president of New Line. I got an idea. It's called Mansion Wars. Two really rich guys get in a property dispute and build up their mansions in a big ego contest. I love it. 750 against 1.5 million. Done. Does that happen anymore? No. That does not happen anymore. Pretty much never anymore.
Yeah.
You've got to have the script. It's got to be well thought out.